Here are 5 key points for a speech titled The 3-Day Challenge that will rewire your mind in the style you're seeking. The power of intentional thinking. Begin by discussing the importance of conscious, focused thought. Explain how the mind's patterns can either hold us back or propel us forward, and how small, deliberate shifts in thinking can rewire neural pathways. Challenge the audience to be intentional with their thoughts for the next 3 days. Taking control of your self-talk. Emphasize the significance of self-talk in shaping mental strength. Encourage the audience to monitor their internal dialogue, replacing negative or limiting thoughts with affirmations of strength, resilience, and potential. This challenge will force them to be aware and intentional with their inner voice. Overcoming fear through action. Highlight how fear and doubt are often products of the mind's unchecked imagination. The challenge is designed to break through those barriers by pushing them to act boldly, face discomfort, and embrace the unfamiliar. Rewire your mind by replacing fear with courage and faith. The importance of consistency and transformation. Address the need for consistent effort to create lasting change. The 3-day challenge isn't just about temporary shifts, but about establishing a foundation for long-term mental transformation. Small actions repeated daily compound to create powerful habits. Releasing negative energy and embracing growth. Encourage the audience to use the 3 days to release any negative, unproductive energies. The challenge involves actively letting go of past regrets, grudges, and doubts, creating space for new growth, positive thinking, and self-belief. You see, most of us go through life allowing our thoughts to run wild, unchallenged, and unfiltered. We're bombarded with thoughts, both positive and negative, that shape the way we see ourselves, others, and the world around us. But what if I told you that these thoughts, these fleeting moments of internal dialogue, hold the power to either hold you back or push you forward? What if I told you that you have the ability to control this, to not just let your mind wander, but to actively choose what you think about, how you think about yourself, and how you shape your reality? Here's the thing, the mind is incredibly powerful, but it's also incredibly malleable. The thoughts we think today can become the actions we take tomorrow, and those actions can become the results we see in our lives. That's why, for the next 3 days, I want you to start thinking intentionally. I want you to start being aware of the thoughts you allow to take root in your mind. The words you speak to yourself, whether it's about your abilities, your worth, your potential, are the seeds of your future. And just like any seed, it's important to plant the right ones. So often we let our minds default to negativity, fear, or doubt. We let ourselves believe that we're not good enough, that we'll never succeed, or that the obstacles in front of us are too big to overcome. We get stuck in old patterns of thinking, patterns that tell us we're not worthy of success, happiness, or peace. But here's the truth. Your thoughts are not facts. Just because you think something doesn't mean it's true. And just because your mind tells you something doesn't mean you have to believe it. In this challenge, I want you to take control of your thoughts. For the next 3 days, I want you to actively choose to focus on the positive. When negative thoughts creep in, don't just accept them. Challenge them. Replace them with something more empowering, more uplifting. Instead of thinking, I'm not good enough for this, think I have everything I need to succeed. Instead of thinking I'll never be able to handle this challenge, think I am stronger than any obstacle in my path. It's not about ignoring the reality of difficulties or challenges, but rather shifting your perspective so that you see yourself as capable of handling them. The power of intentional thinking lies in your ability to decide what occupies your mind. When you're intentional with your thoughts, you begin to rewire the very neural pathways in your brain. The more you practice focusing on the positive, the more your brain will naturally gravitate toward it. And over time, this intentionality becomes a habit. It becomes the lens through which you view the world, the filter through which you see yourself. Your mind will begin to default to thoughts of strength, confidence, and resilience. And when that happens, the world around you changes. Think about it. What you believe about yourself dictates how you show up in the world. If you believe that you're unworthy of success, you won't put in the effort required to achieve it. If you believe that you're not capable, you'll shy away from challenges that could help you grow. But if you believe that you are worthy, that you are capable, that you are strong, everything changes. The way you approach life shifts. You take bolder steps, you rise to the occasion, and you start seeing doors open that you never even knew existed. For the next 3 days, take control of your thoughts. Start each day by choosing to think with purpose. Begin by reminding yourself of your worth, your strength, and your potential. When a negative thought surfaces, don't just let it hang there. Challenge it, replace it, And as you do this, you'll begin to notice subtle shifts in the way you feel, the way you act, and the way you see the world. It's not magic. It's not a quick fix. It's the power of intentional thinking, and it works. Now, as we move into this challenge, there's something critical. I want you to understand something that has the power to completely transform how you experience the world. It's something that's always with you, whether you're conscious of it or not. I'm talking about your self-talk. The voice inside your head, the way you speak to yourself. It's constantly running in the background, influencing how you feel, how you act, and ultimately how you see yourself. And unfortunately, for most of us, that voice isn't always kind. It's not always uplifting. It's often filled with doubt, fear, and negativity. But here's the thing, you have the power to change that voice. You can control what it says. And when you take control of your self-talk, you start to change everything: your confidence, your ability to overcome challenges, and your sense of self-worth. For the next 3 days, I challenge you to listen closely to what's going on in your head. Pay attention to the words you use when you talk to yourself. Are they words of encouragement? Or are they words of defeat? Are they filled with possibility? Or do they bring you down? This is the first step in rewiring your mind. You see, most of us aren't even aware of the negative things we tell ourselves. We've grown so accustomed to the internal dialogue that we don't even realize how damaging it can be. Thoughts like, I'm not good enough, or I'll never be able to do this, or I'm not worthy of success are all too familiar. But those thoughts are not the truth. They're just stories you've been telling yourself for so long that they've become ingrained in your mind. So for the next 3 days, I want you to become the observer of your thoughts. Watch them come and go. And when you catch yourself thinking something negative or self-defeating, stop and challenge it. Ask yourself, is this really true? Is this the best I can do? What if I could think about this differently? And then once you've questioned it, replace that thought with something positive. For example, if you find yourself thinking, I can't do this, replace it with, I am capable of doing this. If your mind tells you I'm not good enough for this opportunity, replace it with, I am worthy of success and I have everything I need to succeed. If you're telling yourself I'm always going to fail, switch it to, every setback is an opportunity to learn and grow. This is how you begin to shift your internal dialogue. This is how you rewire your mind. It's not going to be easy at first. Your mind has been conditioned to think a certain way for a long time. But every time you consciously choose to replace negative thoughts with positive ones, you are taking back control. You are reclaiming your power. And over time, this new way of thinking becomes a habit. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel. Your brain will start to wire itself differently, and those positive thoughts will become the default. Now, this isn't about being delusional or ignoring reality. This isn't about pretending that challenges don't exist or that you won't face difficult situations. What this is about is changing the way you respond to those challenges. It's about deciding that you won't let fear or doubt rule your life. It's about acknowledging that you are capable, you are strong, and you have everything you need to navigate whatever comes your way. By the end of these 3 days, you'll notice something incredible happening. Your sense of self-worth will rise. You'll begin to believe in yourself more deeply, and as a result, your actions will start to reflect that newfound confidence. You'll take more risks. You'll show up more boldly. You'll push through obstacles with a sense of certainty that you didn't have before. But remember, this isn't just about words, it's about changing the belief behind the words. Because when you speak with intention and with positivity, you're not just talking to yourself, you're reminding yourself of who you really are. You're reinforcing the truth that you are powerful, capable, and deserving of all the good things life has to offer. So, for the next 3 days, challenge yourself to speak life into your own heart. Speak strengths. Speak possibility. Speak hope. And when the negative voice tries to creep in, challenge it and replace it with something better. The more you do this, the more you'll begin to see yourself through a new lens, a lens of possibility, of power, of purpose. As we continue through this challenge, there's one thing that stands between most of us and the life we truly want to live, and that's fear. Fear holds us back. Fear keeps us stuck. Fear convinces us that we're not good enough, that we can't handle what's ahead, and that the risks we need to take aren't worth the potential pain. But here's the truth, fear is not the enemy. Fear is simply a signal. It's telling you that something important is at stake. It's telling you that you're on the verge of stepping into something bigger than yourself. And in this 3-day challenge, I'm going to ask you to do something powerful. I'm going to ask you to act in spite of your fear. Fear has a way of tricking us into thinking we're not capable of handling what's coming. It whispers in our ear, telling us to play it safe, to stay in our comfort zone, to avoid the risk of failure. But the truth is, nothing worthwhile ever happens when we stay in the safe zone. Growth doesn't come from staying comfortable. It comes from pushing past the fear, from stepping into the unknown, from doing the things that scare us. It's in those moments of fear that we grow the most, that we learn the most, that we become the most. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's easy to say, but harder to do. I get it. I know what it feels like to doubt yourself, to wonder if you're really capable of handling the challenges in front of you. But here's the secret: you are. You've always been capable. And every time you face your fear head on, you prove it to yourself. Every time you take that step forward, despite the fear, you reinforce your strength. And over time, you'll begin to see fear for what it really is. A signal that you're about to grow, not a reason to hold back. For the next 3 days, I want you to commit to this. When fear shows up, you don't run from it. You don't hide. You don't shrink. Instead, you face it. You act in spite of it. You take the step even when you're not sure how it's going to turn out. And when you do that, something incredible happens. You begin to build courage. You begin to build resilience. You begin to build the mental strength that will carry you through anything that comes your way. Every time you act in spite of fear, you show your mind that it doesn't control you. You show your heart that you're stronger than the doubts that try to hold you back. Fear will always be a part of the process, but you don't have to let it dictate your decisions. You don't have to let it control your actions. And over time, as you face it more and more, it loses its power. This doesn't mean that you're going to feel fearless every time you step into something new. No, there will still be moments when your heart races, when the anxiety kicks in, when the self-doubt starts to creep in. But the more you act in those moments, the more you build a new pattern of behavior. You begin to rewire your mind so that fear no longer paralyzes you. It simply becomes a part of the process. It's like working out a muscle. The first time you face a fear, it's hard, it's uncomfortable. It feels unnatural. But the more you do it, the stronger you become. And eventually, the things that once seemed impossible, the challenges that once seemed insurmountable, become the very things you thrive on. You stop seeing fear as something to be avoided, and instead, you start to see it as a cue that you're on the verge of something great, something life-changing. And remember, facing fear doesn't mean you have to have it all figured out. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It just means that you're willing to step forward even when you don't have all the answers. It's in those moments of uncertainty, of vulnerability, that we experience the most growth. It's when we push past the fear that we discover new strengths we never knew we had. So, for the next 3 days, I want you to choose action over inaction. I want you to choose courage over fear. And I want you to remember that the more you face fear head on, the less control it has over your life. You are stronger than the fear that tries to hold you back. You are capable of more than you know. And when you act in spite of fear, you don't just take a step forward, you become the person you were always meant to be. Now, as we're moving through this challenge, I want to talk to you about something that's crucial for transformation: consistency. It's the quiet force that drives all success. You see, it's easy to be motivated for a day, maybe even for a week. We can all start something with excitement and energy. But the true test, the real challenge, comes in showing up consistently even when the initial fire of motivation starts to fade. And that's where most people falter. They start strong but then burn out, thinking that their initial push wasn't enough or that their results should have come faster. But here's the truth: small, consistent actions add up. It's the power of showing up every single day, no matter how you feel, that ultimately creates lasting change. For the next 3 days, I want you to understand this consistency isn't about making huge leaps every single day. It's not about trying to take giant steps or expecting massive results immediately. No, it's about showing up, doing the work, and staying committed to the process, no matter how small the steps might seem. This challenge isn't just about giving you a quick win. It's about teaching you how to build a foundation of habits that will last. It's about setting up your future self for success by committing to the little things day after day. The key to creating change is to focus on what you can control in the present moment. You don't need to have everything figured out today. What you need to do is take one small action and then repeat it again and again. Every time you show up and take that step, you're strengthening your resolve. Every time you push through a moment of doubt or resistance, you're building momentum. And eventually that momentum compounds into something powerful. Let's be real for a moment. We all know that life isn't a straight line. There will be days when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when you want to throw in the towel. There will be moments when you question if it's even worth it. But here's the thing, this is when consistency becomes your greatest ally. It's when you feel like quitting, when you're tired, that the real growth happens. The difference between the person who succeeds and the person who doesn't is often just this. The person who succeeds doesn't stop. They keep showing up, even when the results aren't immediate. They trust the process and know that every small step counts. So, during these 3 days, I want you to focus on building that muscle of consistency. Don't worry about perfection. Don't worry about doing everything right. Just worry about showing up every day without fail, whether you feel like it or not, whether the results are obvious or not. The power of consistency is that over time it will build on itself. Each action will become easier and your confidence will grow. You'll start to notice that the things that once felt difficult or overwhelming are now within your reach. But this only happens when you stay committed to doing the work, even when you don't see instant results. Think of it like planting a seed. When you plant a seed, you don't see the tree grow overnight. But if you water it, nurture it, and give it the right conditions, that seed will eventually break through the soil. It might take time, but the growth is happening beneath the surface. Consistency works the same way. The effort you put in today, the actions you take now, are setting the stage for what's to come. Even when you don't see the change immediately, trust that it's happening. Trust that the seeds you're planting today are growing into something powerful. I want to challenge you, don't look for shortcuts. Don't look for the quick fixes or the overnight transformations. The real lasting change comes from small, consistent actions over time. That's how you rewire your mind. That's how you build new habits. And that's how you create a life that's aligned with your true potential. For these next 3 days, don't be discouraged by how small your progress may seem. Instead, celebrate every single step, no matter how small. Understand that consistency is the key to turning small actions into massive results. And at the end of this challenge, you'll realize that the real victory isn't just in the days that passed, it's in the habits you've started to build. It's in the person you're becoming. It's in the fact that you didn't give up when it got tough. And that, my friend, is how true transformation happens. As we bring this challenge to a close, there's one last thing I want to leave you with: the power of reflection. Reflection is not just a passive activity, it's an essential part of growth. It's how we take what we've learned, what we've experienced, and make it meaningful. It's how we turn moments of struggle into lessons of strength, how we take small wins and turn them into long-term momentum. If you really want to change your life, if you want to make sure that the lessons from these 3 days stick with you long after the challenge is over, you need to take time to reflect. You see, reflection is where the magic happens. It's where we connect the dots between what we've done and who we're becoming. And so often people skip this step. They rush through the journey, focusing only on the destination, only on the next thing they need to accomplish. But the truth is, the process is just as important, if not more important, than the goal itself. Because it's in the process that we discover who we are, what we're made of, and what we're truly capable of. And reflection gives us the space to take all of that in, to process it, and to use it to propel us forward. I want you to take some time over these next few days to reflect on your journey, not just in this challenge, but in your life as a whole. Ask yourself questions like, what have I learned about myself in the past few days? How have I shown up differently? What new habits or ways of thinking have I developed? What fears did I face? And how did I overcome them? And perhaps most importantly, what's the next step I need to take in order to continue growing? It's so easy to get caught up in the busyness of life and not take the time to reflect. We're always moving, always planning the next thing, always looking ahead. But if you never pause to reflect, you miss out on the wisdom that comes from the journey itself. And that's where so many people fall short. They work hard, they grind, but they don't take time to really look at what they've accomplished or what they've learned along the way. Reflection is your opportunity to hit the pause button and truly appreciate how far you've come. It's your chance to celebrate the small victories, the progress you've made, and the strength you've shown. It's also your chance to identify areas where you can improve and make a plan for how to keep growing. Without reflection, we often miss the lessons that life is trying to teach us. But when we take a moment to pause, to look back at the steps we've taken, we can see the bigger picture. we can understand how every moment, every decision, and every action has brought us to where we are today. But here's the thing about reflection, it's not just about looking back. It's about looking forward too. When you reflect, you begin to connect the dots between your past experiences and the future you want to create. You start to see the opportunities that lie ahead, and you gain the clarity and wisdom needed to move forward with confidence. It's through reflection that we create a roadmap for the future. We figure out what we want to focus on, what changes we need to make, and what actions we need to take in order to align our daily lives with our bigger vision. Over the next 3 days, take time at the end of each day to reflect on what you've done. Ask yourself what went well, what didn't go as planned, and what you can learn from both. If you face challenges, take note of how you overcame them. Don't just move past them, celebrate them. And if you've had successes, no matter how small, pause and give yourself credit. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. And reflection is the key to recognizing and appreciating that progress. Remember, this challenge isn't just about changing your thoughts and habits for a few days. It's about planting seeds for lasting change, and reflection is what helps those seeds grow. It's what gives you the insight to keep moving forward and to make adjustments when necessary. So I encourage you, don't skip this step. Make reflection a part of your daily routine. Allow it to guide you, to challenge you, and to remind you of your power. Because when you reflect on who you are, where you've been, and where you're going, you unlock the wisdom and clarity needed to step into your full potential. And that is where true transformation begins. Take time to reflect and let it guide you to the next level of your journey.